This is Gouda. He's a 3-year-old Singaporean domestic long-hair whom we adopted roughly 6 months ago from the SPCA. He was the only one who was relatively calm and composed on that day amongst his loudly meowing brethren. Anyhow, he's been living with us for a good 6 months now, and I thought that it would be good to share with you guys what it's been like to have a cat in the house for those of you who are looking to get a furry friend of your own, and perhaps more importantly, how much it costs to raise a pet kitty, at least here in Singapore. A big disclaimer up front, only adopt or purchase a pet if you are physically, financially, and perhaps mentally ready to take care of his or her needs for life. I cannot stress this point enough, as many less responsible and perhaps unfortunate past pet owners have been discarding and abandoning their pets. One look at Singapore's SPCA adoption page, links in the description, shows a significant number of pedigree and the occasional exotic breed chilling around, and these breeds are usually not found here locally in Singapore. Most are from pet breeders and shops, and one can only imagine how such desirable breeds of meow meows ended up in a pet shelter. And this applies to not just cats, so once more, do not get a pet if you are not ready for the long haul. Anyway, here's how much our cheese loaf Gouda demanded from us from adoption day to now in a chronological order so that you have an idea of how much and what to prepare in case you are also looking for your own furry loaf. Even before we saw Gouda's listing on the SPCA's Insta page, we had to do research on some basic requirements that we should meet before owning a meow meow. One of the requirements was cat proofing, and in our case, as we lived in a high-rise apartment, we needed to ensure that our cat to be does not find himself in situations where he could attempt cat flight out an open window or squeezing himself through the open grills and getting out of the house and potentially getting lost. The grills weren't all that bad and we had multiple options to choose from. In total, we paid roughly 90 bucks for a large row of meshes which we used to mesh off certain windows and half the front gate. We still had some left over. In addition, there was also concerns regarding hygiene. In preparation for his or her imminent arrival, we started to vacuum the floors more, going into areas we previously tactically decided not to vacuum, an example under the bed, and wiping inconspicuous ledges of the lower walls in the house, and cleaning ulu corners of the house, specifically near the door, shoe racks, and out on the balcony. We did all we could, but spoilers, it wasn't enough. We discovered more spots that needed cleaning once His Eminence Gouda arrived and staked his claim in several corners of the house. So I guess what I'm trying to tell you is just be prepared to do a lot of cleaning, like a lot. And cleaning was not all that we did. In fact, we already started purchasing some necessities for him as well. That includes the first cat scratching post, which was roughly around 62 bucks, and a cardboard scratching post as well. Miscellaneous toys, which I left most of that to my mom. A quick look at her Lazada page tells me that this first batch was around 21 bucks. Combs, brushes, 2 hair removers, hair trimmer, nail clippers, pet wipes, all from Lazada, which was around 76 bucks in total. Feeding bowls, cat litter box, and a lot of cat litter. That was 122 bucks. A flat bed, which he kinda uses quite frequently, which is nice. A pyramid bed, which he has never used. A couple of blankets, and this bag leash thing. And another leash, and another leash, which was 52 bucks in total. Dronto dewormer and Revolution tick guard, which was 62 bucks. This was for 3 months, I believe. A bunch of cans and cat sticks that we got. We are looking around a bag of kibbles, premium kibbles I believe, about 24 cat sticks, 12 cans of cat feed, which was 22 bucks, and miscellaneous treats, the total of which added up to about $111. And then we have his carrying bag, which was perhaps one size too small at first glance due to how much fur he's got fluffing about, and of course a catnip, which he somehow doesn't like. This brings the total expenses of the first batch of supplies, including the meshes, to roughly $678.28. In any case, adoption day arrived and I made the trip to the local SPCA. Fun fact, we weren't actually looking for a Gouda in particular. There was another grey kitty named Elsa that we wanted to adopt, but she was already adopted by someone else right before I arrived, like quite literally the person just before me. So I spent some time looking around for other kitties who are also looking for a home, and then we noticed that a new batch of kitties just arrived and Gouda was among among them. I did a brief interaction with all of them, but Gouda was the calmest among the bunch. So for a first-time cat owner like us, I thought that would be probably easier for us to get accustomed to. You can watch the video link at the top right if you want to watch the actual adoption vlog. We paid $200 for him as the adoption fee, seeing as he was apparently considered a pedigree breed, most probably owing to his fluffy loafiness. We signed some papers and went on our way. Anyway, once I did bring him back from the SPCA, he was, understandably quiet, unsure of his new environment, and mostly stayed within his carrier cage. Yeah, didn't seem defensive or scared, but more towards the apprehensive side. He still allowed you to pet him and give him cat sticks, but he didn't come out of the carrier until a few hours later, which I thought was a good sign since, it could have taken a lot longer. In any case, as Gouda settled into the house proper, he began to chill under the bed and obscure corners of the house at first. We also realized quite quickly that the original scratching post we got for him was smaller than ideal, so another order was made for a larger alternative, in addition to more toys and snacks. Soon we noticed that there was a growing circular patch on his right ear, and it was something that persisted over a few days. Knowing something wasn't quite right with our new resident, we brought him to the nearby pets and found that he's gotten ringworms on that ear. Whether it was from his time in the SPCA or from pathfinding new corners of the house, we aren't quite sure. In any case, a quick checkup led to 30 years and a fungi prescription, along with the usual ringworm medication. A secondary visit was also scheduled at a later date. In all, the consultation and the meds prescribed was about $160, and we also got a little medical hood for him, but understandably he wasn't quite happy with it, so we didn't force it. With the meds in tow, we coerced him into eating them via cat sticks, since neither of us knew or were familiar with how to feed cats their medicine, so we crushed it into small little bits and fed him that way. This was the case for Dronto and Frontline as well, since SPCA recommended us giving him once every month for 3 months upon arrival, before switching to once every 3 months. Anyhow, my mom's fondness for him grew so much that more toys were acquired under necessary expenses, and a dangling chilling bed of sorts was also obtained. This was quite a cool purchase, I think, since he allowed him to chill by the windows while my mom did her stuff. He seemed quite happy with it as well. We actually tried to bring him out for his first walk of sorts, but he was so nervous and anxious that we didn't get very far, or very long for that matter, before going back. Fun fact, he is actually super curious about the outside world at this point, but he's also super scared too. So he would just spring out of the house when we open the doors, but not go anywhere and lie down in the middle of the corridor. But that's a video for later. We got another bag for him, which we didn't manage to use yet since he kept jumping out, and another leash, which we totally didn't need, but my mom bought it because she thought it was cute, and so it somehow became a justified expense. In any case, the follow-up consultation went smoothly and his condition was recovering. A few more meds were prescribed along with a cream. We also purchased another batch of Dronto and Frontline, which in all, as I recall, was about $230. After which, his third and final checkup was another $120, during which the doc declared him to be cured and asked us to keep applying the prescription meds for a couple more weeks just to be sure. In the meantime, we consistently purchased cat treats and snacks for him on a monthly basis. Each time it was around 12 to 15 cans, plus 3 to 4 bundles of cat sticks. That's roughly $60 monthly. We didn't really cook for him or for ourselves for the matter, so cans and cat sticks was kinda our only option here. In any case, we picked mostly salmon and tuna with less flour filler, so it was a bit more on the expensive side. After a bit of time though, we noticed that the original bowl he was using was a little awkward for him, and so another more tilted bowl was acquired for him instead. This was around $20, in addition to an electric water dispenser, as we realized that he didn't like drinking from the water in his combined feed bowl, most probably because the water was still. The running water from the new dispenser did encourage him to drink more often, which was a good thing to see. At least this thing was of some use compared to this little pyramid house and all those blankets, yeah? And that's about all the major expenses I could think of at this moment in time. Quite a number, I think. Let's break it down a little bit just to see where the money went. Firstly, the initial expenses incurred preparing for his fluffiness's arrival was $678, and then the adoption fee at $200, not including the transport fees. Additionally, acquired necessities such as the never used before second carrying bag and the actually useful water dispenser, all of which combined to give $237.62. And then the 3 trips to the vet along with with his medication at $510. If we add up all together, we have that final number of $1,625.90. And that is not counting the 5 months of cans, cat steaks estimated at around $60 a month, which will give us an additional $300 for 5 months, which then gives us a total of $1,925.90. Oh, and before I forget, grooming. Since we were first-time cat owners, we had no idea on how to bathe him at all. So at this point in time, we always brought him to a nearby pet groomer to get him bathed and fluffed professionally. Each visit, including the transportation fees via Grab, was around $150 plus $22 as we didn't drive. If we run it down to $170 and multiply that by 3, it gives us another $510. Add that together and we have $2,435.90. Quite the expense, yeah. I mean, they don't tell you that when you are at the adoption center, mind you. If you multiply this by 2, it gives you a total cost of $5,000. That's the upkeep for the first year. Though, of course, hopefully your cat and you don't have to visit the vet more than once a year, so we can remove $500. And assuming you bond with your companion enough to bathe him or her yourself, you could probably write off another $500. And even then, that's still $4,000 for the first year. So really, before you set out to get your furry companion, be sure to take finances into consideration. But of course, there is more to having a cat than just meeting the financial requirements. There's his or her emotional needs as well as time commitment, i.e. playtime bonding, getting used to having one four-legged friend that you will not be able to understand immediately, roaming around like he or she owns the place. Anyhow, that's it for the video. I hope you found it useful in assisting you with your decision to get a furry friend. If you enjoyed this video, please do consider dropping a like or a sub. Your support is greatly appreciated. With that, take care and goodbye.